I forget that line, but it's always, the line stuck with me. I'm forgetting the context. It was Tom Bombadil who said to the hobbits of Farmer, he spoke about Farmer Maggot in a way that challenged their view of him, that he was perhaps far more important than they had suspected. They had always just seen him as a crass farmer. Mm. And I love that, because I think that's most of us, or all of us. We kind of walk around bumping into each other, wishing others would get out of the way so we can get in front of them. And
how many friends understood how important the Blessed Virgin Mary was? She was probably utterly ordinary, like Mother Teresa, like Dorothy Day, two saints that I personally met.
Tell us about that.
And I was impressed by how extraordinarily ordinary both were. That's Grandma.
Wow. It was Chesterton who said there's nothing so extraordinary in all the world than an ordinary man, his ordinary wife, and their ordinary children.
And that's the whole purpose of politics, to protect that. And if it's not doing that, it better not exist.
That's right. What was it like meeting Mother Teresa? And where did you meet her?
She came to our local parish. There was a big crowd, maybe 200 people waiting in line. And she saw how big the crowd was and gave each person maybe 5 seconds. And she just she simply shook my hand and said, "God bless me." But she looked at me. And in that look, I saw absolute and total attention. Nothing else existed in the world for her except me.
Wow.
And then I learned that other people who had met her had the same impression.
Yes, I've had that impression with very holy people. Father Bob Bedard, who's the founder of the Companions of the Cross up in Ottawa, Canada, who's since deceased. I remember meeting him and feeling like everything else in the world slowed down, and he was directly attentive to me.
You know who else I felt that with? Father Scanlon at Steubenville University. Yeah. A living St. Francis. I think he'll be canonized someday.
Do you really? Why?
The miracle that he did at the university.
I mean, of course I've heard of it, and I just had Father Dave on the show to talk a bit about it, but I'd love to hear your perspective on it.
Well, I know just what I've heard. I wasn't directly and personally involved in it, but he turned a failing school, failing in every way, spiritually, academically, economically.
I'm not sure if you know this, but Franciscan at one point was on the Playboy top 10 party universities.
Oh, yeah.
That's remarkable.
And that's where he started. This is a Catholic university. You're going to be Catholics. So you're going to live as Catholics. And you're not going to have sex or drugs in the dorms. Mm-hmm. And we're going to fire all the atheists. And half the students left. And he said, so what? And he built it up from there. And now it's an empire.
Yeah. I would have loved to have met him.
The twinkle in his eyes reminded me of Mother Teresa's.
Really? Yeah, I'd love to get to that point where I'm less distracted, but I'm incredibly distracted constantly.
Well, heaven heals all ills, including ADD, which you probably have because you're quite intelligent. Most intelligent people have ADD. But we go into universities because that's the only place we can thrive. Yeah. We can't quite handle the real world.
Yeah, I'd be screwed in a normal job, I think. But it would be good to get to that place where we were more attentive to what's taking place now. It's like we always have this idea that God's will is this afternoon or tomorrow or next year or when the kids grow up. Or
Well, Brother Lawrence has practiced the presence of God, and Deco Saad's abandonment to divine providence both talk about that, the sacrament of the present moment.
Yeah. Yeah, the future may never enter into my soul. The past I leave into God's mercy. You, dear present, are all I have.
How the devil loves to get us to worry about the future or to resent the past. Doesn't want us to live in the present, because that's where we meet God. That's where God is.
Yes, the only
There's no
place.
past or future to God. He's present.
Yes. Yes.
There's a line in one of Ingmar Bergman's movies. Bergman was a God-haunted agnostic. It's called Cries and Whispers. There's these three women who are sisters, and they hate each other. And one of them is dying of cancer, and the other two can't wait for her to die because she's rich and they're going to inherit her money. And the dying woman knows it, but plays the game anyway. And one spring, I'm told that spring is magical in Scandinavia because the winters are so long. When the sun is shining and there's still some snow on the ground, but the green grass is poking through, their two sisters take this dying woman out of her bed into the backyard swing. And they each sit on one side of her, and she's swinging, and you hear the voiceover. You hear her thinking, yes, I know that my sisters are witches and hypocrites, and they don't love me, and they just waiting for me to die. But that's the future. And I know that I'm going to die very soon, and I've accomplished nothing in my life, and I have nothing but pain to look forward to. But this moment, this perfect yellow sunlight and this perfect green grass and this perfect white snow, that's all that exists right now. And that's where I am, and that's it. And then they go back and she dies. But that one moment is like a light in the darkness, like that little star that Sam sees in Mordor. And there's clouds all around, but one star peeks through the fog, and like the shaft of an arrow, it smites his heart. It can't be put out. The light, a tiny little light, will overcome an enormous room of darkness. The darkness cannot put out the light. The light always puts out the darkness.
What do you mean smotes his heart? I think I know, but
C.S. Lewis has a little epithet that says, I forget the rhyme, but the basic point of it is that the greatest task that an artist can succeed in performing is to break your heart. Isn't it strange that tears are the same thing that we shed when we have sorrow that we can't endure and we have joy that we can't endure?
Yes.
And both come from a broken heart. And I think it's Paul Tournier who says somewhere that the only heart that can be whole is a heart that has been broken.
I mean, I think I know exactly what this means, but I don't know if I can express it. Like I've been in beautiful situations or have been engaged in beautiful experiences, and but maybe I've got it wrong. The thing that kind of broke my heart was the fact that it wasn't what I wanted. Do you see? Yeah. So the sun is setting and I'm surfing on this lovely beach in San Diego, or I'm intimate with my wife, or the most beautiful, back porch whiskey, chatting with good friends. And as soon as I think, oh, this is it fades away. That's
C.S. Lewis. That's Sehnsucht. That's
Is
joy.
that what you mean by smoting the heart, or is that something different? Yeah.
Yes. Appetizers. The smell of the steak rather than the snake.
Smell of the coffee rather than the coffee.
Yes.
Or maybe not in that case.
The pointing finger.
Yeah.
That's why deconstructionism is so damaging. According to deconstructionism, ordinary words aren't even pointing fingers.
Yeah.
Archibald MacLeish's Ars Poetica defines that deconstructionist credo, I think, as well as anything. He says, a poem must be palpable and mute, like globed fruit. A poem must not mean, but be.
Oh.
Nothing means anything. Nothing points to anything. No matter how transcendent the experience, it doesn't point to something beyond itself. That's all it is.
And did he mean anything with those words about poetry not meaning anything?
I think so.
Did he see the irony?
I think he is a nihilist. He's a brilliant nihilist. J.B. is a great play, but it's a retelling of the Book of Job, almost from the devil's point of view.
Oh, really? Thanks so much for watching. Please like if you liked, and if you loved, subscribe.